Hello, everybody. I am so glad you are here. I'm going to do some adjusting of my screen so I can see if anybody comes in and watches, but I still have to be able to change my screen and everything else. I hope you are all having a great day. Our weather is kind of crazy everywhere. It is, let's see, it was cool and now it's hot. And it's the first day of fall. It's like, oh my gosh, crazy, crazy weather. But that's okay. It'll be fine. I don't mind it at all. So I kind of like it when it's a little cooler. But, oh, to be honest with you, I have been freezing. So I have been with warm, jackets and things like that on. I don't know why. It's just the house feels really cold to me and the temperature's not set low. So I ran across a couple of ideas and I thought it would be fun to play with it today. Oh, I forgot to get my scoring tool back here. So let me grab it. I'm going to show you some different ways. If you don't have a lot of supplies, I would love to share with you some ideas that you can use to make your card making, to kind of extend it, because if you don't have a lot of supplies, you kind of get bored, so to speak. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do today. And I thought it would be fun to play with. Now I'm using my scoring board, but you can easily use a printer that has the scoring option in it. You just have to remember that when I do mine, I score it like 3 or 4 times so that I make sure I get nice score lines to show. So that's the only thing to keep in mind, and I'll show you when I start today. I've been having a lot of fun playing with TikTok and doing some different things there. If there's anything you want to know about, just ask me a question and I'll be glad to help you out. I love sharing my ideas. And okay, I was looking on Bijou, but she's still over there laying down. So I don't know if anybody else is coming in or not. Let me go back to Facebook and see if there are any messages. No. Sometimes people can't get in and they go looking for me. But that's okay. If nobody comes in, I'll do it and it will be here. So that whenever you get a chance, you can look at it. All right, with that, because I've got 3 cards to share with you today, and I've done a lot of prepping, but I also want to make sure I have plenty of time to show you all 3. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So give me a minute to pull my camera over. All right, and I'm going to spotlight it and make sure it's set up right. Okay, it is. So there's my scoreboard. All right, the first card I saw uses scoring, and I will be folding my card this way. So this will be the front. So I have to score from the back. And I do that because I want my score lines to be on the front, the raised part on the front, the bumps on the front. So I'm going to start about a ½ inch away and I'm going to score it. And I'm going to come down like 3 times. All right. And then I'm going to move over 1/4 of an inch and I'm going to score it again 3 times. And then over 1/4 of an inch and score it 3 times. Now I chose 1/4 of an inch, but you could do it at 1/8 of an inch. Now this one is here and I moved over 1/2 inch. So I want it to be the same. So I'm going to move to 3 3/4. I'm going to score it 3 times. And then over 1/4 of an inch, score it 3 times. Moved over 1/4 of an inch and score it 3 times. So when I turn it over, you can see I have some nice score lines. All right, so now we need to put this together. Now, again, I'm not putting any sentiments on here, except for one that I have to, with the way the position is, I have to put the sentiment on with the scoring, all right? So I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm going to flip this over because I don't want to mash my score lines. All right. So now I've got my score lines here. And I'm going to take and I'm going to decorate the center. And to decorate the center, I decided to make this a masculine card. So I pulled out my current favorite masculine set, which is the sailboat set. I am using a piece of the Brights pattern paper. All right. And I'm going to add that to my card. All right. And you'll see why I'm not adding one. I can very easily add my sentiment, why I'm not adding a sentiment. You'll see why. And I cut mine so that the paper went up and down. And I'm going to center this as best I can. And right there, I've attached it. Okay, so I've got that. Now, to give this some interest, I took the Stylish Shapes dies and I used, I don't think it was the largest one. I went down 1. And then I went down 2 to cut out the center because you want the center cut out. You want to be able to see that pattern paper. All right. And you only want a piece of it peeking on the sides. All right. So let me get my pin in. And I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to put this on and I'm going to center it and make sure it goes on straight. And you'll know it's straight or not because of your lines. Okay, so I've got that. Now, I'm going to add my sailboat to it. All right, and my sailboat's going to go on like this, but I'm going to use dimensionals. Now, I have to tell you, I was playing with an idea that I saw another demo do where she took her dimensionals, I couldn't think, and she was able to pull out I'll put that up there, pull off the top and then pull off her dimensionals very easily, and there was no pieces to take off. And I thought, well, how did she do that? So I played with it and the idea that I had didn't work. So I contacted her and found out how to do it. And she actually doesn't take off any of the pieces. I'm going to go ahead and add my dimensionals on my sails, but I want to make sure I'm putting them on the right side. She puts packing tape on the back of them. And I thought it was genius. Now, I have to play with it to see if it works because I cut my dimensionals in half, and a lot of people don't. I know they say you can use the minis. I've just never been a fan of the minis. I don't know why. And I think it's probably because I've cut mine in half for so long, it isn't funny. But anyway, I'm going to put and I don't worry about the mast because once I put these on, I overlap that mast and it holds it down so it's not going to get pulled up. So, and I did use I've got some glue booger on there. There, got it. I did use this is Pacific Point. So I made one sail Pacific Point, and I wanted some contrast. So I threw in a yellow sail. So there's card 1 with some embossing on the side. So cute idea. All right, I'm going to move this one out of the way, and we'll get on with number 2. And number 2 for that one I am using, I am using the stylish, no, it's not. That was for the first one. Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. I've got my stuff all laid out here, but I didn't put it in order like I usually do. So I'm using the same paper, and what I've done is it's just a regular card base, and then a piece of that's 4 by 5 1/4. And for this one, I'm going to use Lovely You, and I use the beautiful shapes to cut out my image from the front. All right, so let me get that out of the way. And I have to do some work first. The first thing I need to do is I need to take my sentiment. I'm flipping between screens, guys. Sorry, so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my sentiment and Blackberry Bliss. And I chose from my Lovely You, I'm going to use this flower and Just Because. All right, I'm going to take my Just Because, and you have to do this first, and I'll explain why in just a minute, but I want to get it on there straight. Yes, sometimes I worry my sentiment's not going to be on there straight, but it is. All right, so I've got that. Now, what I'm going to take and do next is I'm going to add this to the front. All right. But, oh, my pencil. Hang on. I left my pencil over on the other table. I need to know where the top is so I don't go too high. So I'm just going to draw a little tiny line, and then I'm going to use my stamp and my markers. I love using my markers on my stamps. That one looks like it might have a little bit of a film on it. So I'm going to stamp it on scrap paper first and make sure it stamps. But I can, just by looking at it, it's not real solid there. So I want to make sure it is. I'm just going to pull this. It was sitting over there. Yeah, it's not. So I'm going to twist it. Sometimes they get a film on them, even though you okay, let's see. No, it's still not straight. Let me take my towel. Can you see how it's blobby? Let me pull it in a little bit. It's not a solid image. And I think that's why I'm thinking there might be something on there, and let's find out if this works. If not, I may have to stamp it. Well, it's better. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it, and hopefully it will stamp well. Now I have my mark where I know is the top, so I don't want to go too high. So I'm going to stamp it there, and I'm just going to leave it a few seconds in hopes that I have the ink transfer. It did, but it's still not that great. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a blender pen. Now I've heard you can do this. We'll find out if it works. And I'm going to see if I can't blend it out a little bit. It's working some. Yeah, there we go. So if you get a blobby image and it's solid, just take your blender pen and straighten it out. You know, just kind of color over it and it kind of blends it out. Now what I have to do is I have to take and scribble off the ink off of here, because if you don't, it'll ruin your tip. Now that is stained, but there's no ink there. So keep that in mind. All right, and now I'm ready for the next part, but I'm going to take and I want to erase this first. All right. Just in case by my position, you can see it. Now, just to also let you know, I have the Papermate Sharp Writer. These are disposable. I don't like disposable, but these are fabulous for erasing. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, next thing I need to do is I need to deal with, I'm going to move this over to the side. I'm going to pull back my scoreboard. And again, I want my bumps on this side. So I'm going to do it on the back side. And I'm using the small tip. Now I want my first one right about here, which looks like it's about 1 inch. So I'm going to do 1 inch, 3, and then I'm going to hold it in place and come down. And the thing is, you cannot do this. You cannot score it first and then do your cutting, because you will mash your, and I'm going to use skinnier scoring this time. You'll mash your lines when you run it through your die cut machine. And I'm going to go ahead and do all of this at the top, because now that I have enough down there, and I'm just doing these 1/8 of an inch apart, and this will be my last one. So I've left my corners alone. So now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do my 3. All right, you got to make sure you hold this straight. And then what I usually do is I find out where the piece is and I go the opposite way. Got to be careful you don't go over off the line. This should be my last one. Yeah. See, you mash it, so you have to be careful. That's the reason why I went that way, to kind of give you that embossing. Can you see that? Hold it up like there. See, you can see, and it goes all the way down, which is really cool. All right, now we can put our card together. All right, so I've got that. Here's my card base. I'm going to fold it in half and use my bone folder for a good fold. All right. Now this I'm going to put on, but I'm going to put it raised. And I haven't put embellishments or anything on this. It's just, you can embellish it any way you want. I don't know if I have a, I'm just going to kind of go around. I will put a dimensional on the edges of the shape, because that's where you need support. And I'm going to try these. The piece is missing off of them, but I want to see if they'll still stick. They're sticking to my hand, so I'm thinking they're still good. That way I can get them off of here. All right. So I can get this one back to a point where it's not sticking to me. All right, I'm going to take this one off of here. See what a mess I have? I'll deal with those later. I can use those when I'm not filming. All right, let me go with this, get some more. All right. Sometimes I get a pack of the dimensionals and my backs come off even before I take them off. All right, I'm going to put one here, and I need one here. And there's plenty of support there, but I think I'm going to put one down here just for a little bit of extra support. If you're in, please say hello, wave at me. Let me know somebody's watching me. I try to do this at lunchtime when people have a break for lunch at their job. Of course, I assume everybody has lunch at noon, but maybe not everybody does. All right, but if not, I would love it if you came back, watched my video, gave me some feedback, thumbs up, and like my channel. I have to live stream it in because until I get a number of followers, I can't do it live straight into YouTube. I can do it through Zoom and stream it in. All right, so there's that. There's the second card. And again, I'm going to be posting these on my blog because I make these cards and then after here, nobody ever sees them. So I'll share them on my blog. So if you're curious to see how I ended up finishing them up, you can visit my blog. It is Creations in Paper. So, all right, for my last card, I'm going for a fun idea. And I'm using Painted Poppies. I'm going to use that stamp. And I'm also using the postage stamp. So here's a great way to use your postage stamp if you're looking for a fun idea. Now, first thing I did was I cut a piece of paper and I'm going to score this. Now, this is going to be tricky because it's, I want my, oh, wait a minute. Can't score it. Hold on. I forgot. Good thing I remembered. This would have been a mess. I'll just put that one on that side. What I want to do is I'm going to take some temporary adhesive and I'm going to put it on the back and I'm going to place my, I got to come up a little. That's about right. I'm going to place my card there. Next thing I need to do is I'm going to stamp my stamp and I'm just using the black memento. All right, let me make sure I get this straight on my thing. This one is a fun idea. All right, so I'm stamping it and I'm kind of pressing down in this area because you'll have that break. But believe me, once we cut it out, it'll be okay. All right, so I've got that. In fact, what I could have done was stamped it. That's all right. I'm thinking I probably should have stamped the whole stamp here. You know what I'll do? I'll do it on the back and no one will know. All right, so I've got that stamped. And you'll see why in a minute. All right, so I need to have an idea of where to stamp it. Right about there. All right. Okay, so I've got that stamped. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to color my image. And I'm going to color this one first. And I'm using my poppy marker. All right, and I'm just doing a real quick color. I'm not worried about if the whole flower is colored in because it's art. And if you look at these flowers, they're kind of whimsical. So by coloring it in quickly and not worrying about having all of the pieces colored, you give it that whimsical look. Okay. And if I find this one that I think needs some more, I'll add more to it. All right, so I've got that colored. I'm going to set that aside just a second for it to dry. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to color these the same way. Real quick and easy. This is a great way to color if you like coloring but are short on time, or maybe you don't like coloring, then you can do this quick and easy. And you can go back, and I am going over quite a ways. Excuse me. I know that not all of these are going to show, but I don't know which ones are. So I'm thinking that will work. So we'll leave it. All right, now it's time. This is dried enough, I think. And I can take, and where did I put my, oh, there it is. I couldn't find my, now I want to remove the back of this. This is that temporary adhesive, only because it'll drag on my stylus tip. All right, I've done that one. 2, 3. I don't think I did it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Oops. 2, 3. Don't go too fast. I sometimes have a tendency to go too fast. And I'm pretty soon, I go for as long as I can keep my hands holding it in place. Once it gets close, I'm going to flip it, because then it's just easier to score it. And then I just have to make sure I hold it down. And one more score line. Yeah, I could feel it dragging. Okay, we have it scored. That so I don't sit on it when we're done. And I'll pull it up so you can see. There we go. You can see it. Okay, so there I've got it. Now what I'm going to take and do, this is where the punch comes into effect. And I have a feeling I'm going to need a Post-it note to hold it. So I'm going to take my image, and you might have to finagle this because of the score line. So just kind of jiggle it back and forth till you can get it in. It gets stuck. There we go. And then I'm going to punch it close to the bottom. And so I've kept it close to the bottom here and close to this edge. So I've punched out my shape. This is going to come over here, and it's going to go on my card. And I gotta hide that. There it goes. So you have to kind of match up your pieces. So with that, I'm gonna use my tear and tape, only because this is really embossed a lot, and I don't know if it will stick real well or not. So I'll just use the tear and tape to hold it in place. And we are almost done. This is the last one. Okay. Burnish your ends in. And you can pull off your backs. Now the key here, and I think I'm going to do this one this way. I'm going to fold it out. I should have done this one the same way. Let me see if I can get it back on there and do that. Yeah, and you'll see why in a minute. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to take and do is this little flower is right here. And I've got a little piece there that's not colored, but that's okay. So I'm just going to kind of hold it in place. I got to make sure there we go. All right, when I get it in place, then I can pull out those pieces. So that's a way to hold it. Now, you can pop this up, but I just said, nah, I'll just leave it flat. I sometimes don't want to put too many dimensionals on there because then you have to pay more for postage. All right, this is going to go on. And you know what? I'm going to pop this one. I think it would look better if this one was popped. And you can see where I messed up. But that's okay. Nobody knows but you and I. And you won't tell on me, I don't think. All right. Let me get going here. And then I'll pull in all the cards for you to see. All right, I've got one there, almost. Now I got to take these backs off. And one there. I think that'll be enough. I did have someone send me a card, and I often wondered about it. And I know a lot of people just put their dimensionals on the edge, and that's what this person did. It was sunk. So I try to add a few extra dimensionals, and I don't feel guilty about it because I cut it in half. So, all right, there's that. All right, now, here are the 3 cards that I did that uses embossing. All right, and I'll pull it up so you can hopefully see. There's the embossing on that one. So it was down the sides. This one used a cutout that I stamped inside, and the embossing is top to bottom where that shape is. And the last one, I used a punch and embossed it. And it's kind of hard to see. I probably shouldn't have gone so far over with it, but that's okay. You can see it better in real life. It's hard. There we go. All right. So there are the 3 cards, and I will post these to my blog tomorrow. So if you want to see what the finished one looks like, go to Creations in Paper tomorrow morning and you can see it. All right, let me switch back to my face. All right, which you can't quite see since I'm standing. I had to look and make sure. I hope you enjoyed this idea. I'm just a little over a half hour, and that you'll give embossing using your trimmer or your scoring tool and create some fun cards. Thanks for visiting. I appreciate all of you. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up, like my video, like my page. I'm trying to get more subscribers so that I can go live straight in and don't have to stream it in. There's a delay and I don't like that. All right, guys, have a good afternoon. I hope you have some fun plans and you enjoy your lunch, and I'll see you next week. Bye.